Okay, let's go to the session with Koen. After the session, there's room for Q&A. And Koen, you can already start up the Q&A after your session.
Okay, thank you. What's on the agenda? So first, I'm going to introduce our services regarding security. Then go over some common pen test findings, what is often forgotten, because we see that most of the times it's the same things with different companies. Then we'll go over some real world examples and things that we see during red team assessments or penetration tests. And then we'll go over to lessons learned and some quick wins for things that you can do yourself to get better security. And then we'll do questions and answers. So who are we and who am I? I'm 𝗀𝗲𝗀𝗴. I'm the lead penetration tester at Brightest. I have 8 years experience in offensive security. I did quite a lot of penetration tests and red teams in all kind of sectors. So hospitals, healthcare, finance even, logistics, and the list goes on, of course. Next to cybersecurity, I'm also a locksmith, so I'm trying to combine also the physical aspect of security. Pretty interesting, of course, during red team assessments when we have to test the physical security to get into server or data centers, of course. But today we'll look at how attackers actually break in. Usually there's not special skills needed. It's not like in the movies where it all looks so spectacular. Usually it's the same things, and we chain easy things that get us pretty far, let's say. So first, I'll explain what pen testing is. Regarding weapon API pen test, we do penetration tests on application and API levels, which means we test for input validation, so issues like cross-site scripting, SQL injection, but also broken authentication and session management. So is the login flow secure? Are there any access control issues? So things that certain users don't or are not allowed to do. Also business logic flaws, which means can we on a web shop get items for free, or other things which are specific to the context of the web application. And we manage or connect these issues to the OWASP top 10 web, mobile, or API. Pen testing is manual, so we do use some scans, of course, but pen testing, the idea is there that we actually take a look at the application itself and manually test, what are the features, what can we do, or abuse, let's say. So a pen test is usually just the scope of one web application or an API, let's say. If we look at network penetration testing, you have internal penetration testing and external network penetration testing. There we look at, for instance, open ports and services. So we identify what's on the network. We try to exploit weak configurations, things that are not set correctly. We test for segmentation and lateral movement. So that means if someone is using a printer, can the printer also access the servers or the sensitive areas, let's say? Normally, you should work with VLANs and separate those things. But we also test what can an attacker, let's say, that comes inside the building, gets access to the network, what can he access? Then we also look at default credentials and untouched systems. It's just a short, brief summary of what we look for. Regarding red team, a red team is actually a full scope simulated cyber attack, and it's designed to test the organization's detection and response capabilities. So that means if you have a SOC or a blue team, we try to go stealth and assess, do they detect us? Can they see what we do? Can they build a threat map? Can they see what our actions were and how do they respond, let's say? So companies usually want to see they have an external SOC team, for instance. Is the monitoring and the logging actually seeing and doing what it's supposed to do? It's a nice goal to identify the gaps. And red team is more than just the technical part. We also look at people and social engineering and other things. So as you can see here, this is usually what can be in scope of a red teaming. You see it's very broad. So you have the external infrastructure, internal network infrastructure, even physical security, where we look at access control testing. So can we copy or clone badges? We try to infiltrate on site by saying we are someone that we are not. We also can do USB drop scenarios, for instance, social engineering, so spear phishing campaigns, calling people, physical badge cloning, so standing next to an employee in the elevator, for instance, can we copy their badge and abuse it? And also the cloud service we take a look at. So just to quickly summarize, pentest is actually a snapshot. So there's a specific scope of that web application or that network. So the targets are known. For a red team, it means that we have to be stealthy, and there's usually flags or goals. So for a hospital, for instance, it's to steal a laptop, steal a doctor's jacket, get into the emergency room for half an hour, let's say. And red team usually is only focused on that specific goal. So even though it's broad, a pen test really has a scope, and we go really deep there, and we don't have to be stealthy there, of course. A purple team means that it's a red team, but we work alongside the blue team, so the attackers and defenders are learning together. Today we'll focus more on the red, of course. So some 6 easy steps on how companies get hacked, let's say. So we have initial access, which means we try to get access to the building, let's say. Then we go look for internal access. So can we get access to the network? Credential access means can we find or retrieve low privileged access. So then we're on the level of a employee, let's say. If we have those privileges, we try to escalate them. So try to become domain admin or a local admin first. And then if we are domain admin, we have total control over the domain. So we try to really escalate our privileges there. And of course, normally on the last point, there should be profit if it's a bad guy. But here we make a report, and we explain what we did, how we did it, and how the companies can solve it. We guide them into steps to improve their security in order so the bad guys cannot do what we did. To start, we usually start to get access to the building. So we go to the reception, or we in hospital to sensitive areas. We walk around with laptops. We say hi. We say, "Hey, I'm from IT. Can you let us in?" And what we usually see, nobody actually questions a confident person with a lanyard that we made up, for instance. And yeah, if you look confident, you put up a smile, it's usually enough to let people help you. What we also see is that doors stay open, for instance, during maintenance, or yeah, the usual access control is actually bypassed because it's too big of a hassle to always use a badge, so they leave the door open, let's say. Those are the things that we usually see. For server rooms, for instance, we see weak door locks. So as you can see here on the right, this was a door to the IT department area. As you can see on the inside, just move this. On the inside, you have a door handle. On the outside, you just have a knob to pull. If you badge next to the door, it opens, but you see it doesn't lock. So as a locksmith, it would, yeah, give me access in 2 seconds. So it's not enough. There should be better door protection to sensitive areas. Badges are usually copyable as well. This one is not because it's using 𝗕𝗿𝗀, but we use 𝗕𝗿𝗀 and other more sophisticated hardware to copy badges. And yeah, if it's copyable, we can use it to go around the building. We also see that people hold doors open because, yeah, people seem legit, they are friendly. This is what actually happens a lot as well. And we see, for instance, hospitals, yeah, they are meant to actually help other people. So yeah, there's no questions asked. If we go to the entrance, we pull out the parking paying machine or the kiosk. We plug in our laptops, and yeah, even though there's security or nurses or doctors or staff even, they do not ask any questions. Once we are inside the building, we still have to get access to the network. Usually, in most environments, it's pretty easy. We plug in, we have access, but some companies do have a network access control. So the question there is it good implemented? So if we put in our cable, do we get a pop-up that we have to authenticate or not? Is 802.1x actually used, or is it just MAC filtering? Because yeah, the network access control can be pretty easily bypassed if it's not implemented correctly. If they use MAC filtering, yeah, then we can just spoof MAC addresses of what's on the network, and we have easy access. What we see a lot too is they do have network access control with 802.1x. So yeah, you should always have to authenticate. What we see is that they forgot things like access points on the ceilings. They just use MAC filtering, for instance. So what we do is, yeah, we get a chair, we pull it out. Usually there's a sticker of the MAC address of the access point on it. So we put in our laptop on the cable. We do a spoof of our MAC address to the MAC address of the access point. And then we see that we have instant access to most of the segments and traffic, since the access points, all traffic goes through there. So we immediately bypass the network access control and pretty much some segmentation as well. So once we are inside the network, we can do a few things. For instance, we can do some ARP spoofing and sniff the traffic. So it means, for instance, let's say you're in a bar, and what we do is actually we tell to the people, hey, I'm the bartender. So people have to go to me, and I'll go to the bartender itself. So I pretend to be the gateway, let's say. All traffic I route through my laptop. The people do not see anything that's happening, but it means that we can sniff the traffic if there's unencrypted traffic used on the network, for instance, HTTP, FTP. If it's all in plain text, we can see it. So if there's sensitive data like patient data or credentials, we can steal them, and even hashes on the network. Another thing is we can also do a SMB relay attack. So it means also we try to route SMB traffic through our laptop. We receive some NTLM hashes, which are used in a Windows environment to authenticate on the network or to the servers, let's say. And we can abuse these sessions and access in name of the person to shares that do not have SMB signing enabled. So that means that the server actually does not check if the signature is correct. So once we intercept the session, we can replay it to all the servers in the network that do not have the SMB signing enabled. So it means, even though the person, we don't need to know their password, but we do have access to everything in shares that the person has or the account has access to. So what do we do then? If we do an SMB relay or we capture a hash, that hash is only as strong as the user's password. So we can use it to crack it offline and try to get the user's password in order to do more things. So you see, 1 weak password means internal access. A tip. We also see a lot of passwords that use the company name, including a year or a month or something. You also see here we captured or got the password, which is welcome01 ! And the plus means that it works. So those passwords are pretty common as well. Here we crack the hash offline. So we have a word list of around 100 gigabytes full. Takes just a few minutes to crack a hash, and then you see here that the password is password 1 ! So it all comes down to how strong is the user's password or the passwords in the domain used. So once we have access to the account, we try to enumerate as broad as we can. So see what is on the network, what is on the Active Directory. We have a tool for this, Bloodhound, for instance. You can see here it maps all the users, it maps the groups, who are the domain admins, what is the easiest path to get privilege access. So for us, it's a really useful thing to have as much information about what we're doing what the account can access. We also check for passwords in user descriptions or group policy objects. We often see that that the service desk or the guys managing the computers and the accounts leave a comment on the user description, and often they add the password. So then we have more accounts. So then we also look, of course, to the password policy in the domain. This is usually way too limited or too weak. So we see here there's a minimum password length of 7 characters. 7 characters. I think it would take a few minutes to crack the passwords that use 7 characters. We see here no password complexity. So it means users can just use passwords in low characters. This should be enabled, of course. We also see the reset account lockout counter is just 5 minutes. So if we manage to lock out an account, it would just reset after 5 minutes. The account lockout threshold is 20, so that means that we have 20 tries before the account is locked. Then we have to wait 5 minutes, and we can try 20 times again. So this is an example of a pretty weak password policy. Regarding password spraying, so we see that big environments usually have a lot of service accounts. And yeah, in combination with the weak password policy, we see left behind accounts that use the username the same as the password. So once we have an account, we can list the users. We use a script and just try the username with its password. And more often we do get hits, even 100 or more accounts in one domain. And yeah, if we do it slow and sneaky, we do it just one try per account, there's no lockout, so it works more often. Here you see I blurred a lot of info, of course. This is the username, and you see here the password is the same, and it works. So if those accounts have privileged access, means that we also have more privileges as well. Then another thing we see a lot too is we look at files, scripts in SMB shares. Often developers leave hard-coded passwords or backup SQL creds. We find legacy accounts, and it's happened before that we even find domain admin credentials. That means that in just a few minutes, we can enter the domain and then just, we are domain admin and have full control over the whole domain. And mostly they still work because they're old. They need to be used for some service, let's say. Here's an example for the SA user, this password, and it still worked. So you see, just an employee can pretty easily go to a domain admin. If we see misconfigurations and often overlooked permissions, it's really a gold mine for us. So it doesn't need to be exotic things. It comes down to weak passwords, the things I just said with the storage or configurations not being set tightly, and least principle not strict, let's say. So yeah, once we're a local admin here, yeah, it doesn't take a lot of time to become domain admin everywhere. So, sorry. Once we are domain admin, we tend to pull the ntds.dit file. That's basically the golden chest of an Active Directory or a domain. We do this to just get, it contains not the password, but the hashes. So we do the same as we did before with one hash. We use hashcat, for instance, here with massive word list to see how many weak passwords are being used in the domain. And you see here, there's some easy passwords here, mostly in Dutch. But service desk, let's say, I've seen a lot of funny ones as well. But you also see here that it just took like 5 minutes maximum to obtain 420 or 5% weak passwords. So it really is still one of the easiest ways and one of the most common ways that we get into a company. Passwords being weak is really a problem here. So what we see at the different companies, it's usually the same things. The weak passwords, like I just said, passwords in scripts being stored on shares, the SMB signing that is not enabled, so we can do some relay attacks, no or insufficient network access control. So can we bypass it like we did in the beginning with the access point? Unencrypted protocols being used. I've seen patient data going unencrypted over hospital network, which is not really the intended thing to do, of course. Server room doors that are unlocked, left open, or weak door lock security, let's say. Also people that never ask questions, or they assume that someone is genuine doing what he is needing to do, actually. So what are some things that you can do that actually improve security a lot? Of course, patching and updating regularly keeps the easy script kiddies away, of course. Of course, enforcing SMB signing and disabling anti-LM if possible, but usually it's a legacy issue that's needed for some things. So more often they stay enabled. The physical areas should be locked adequately, of course. And a human link is usually the weakest factor, let's say. So it's important to train staff to say, who are you? Can you identify yourself? Not just letting someone in. If someone is saying, hey, I'm here for IT, let's say, then let those people call IT, verify it. It's really important that someone knows who this person is, of course. Another really important one is to audit shares and credentials. So make sure that someone in engineering cannot access HR documents. Really tighten down the access that a person just needs, so nothing more. It's also important in the regards of ransomware, of course. The more access an account has, the more easily it spreads. So it's very important also for confidentiality, of course. And schedule pen test and or red teams to stay sharp, of course. Are there any questions? I hope it was some interesting thing to see what we usually do in a pen test or red team. And you can always send me an email if you have any questions.
If there's any questions now, you can just unmute yourself.
Hello, I have a question. I'm actually quite intrigued about the topic you covered of the physical security. It was about MyFair badges for access. And you mentioned that you sometimes use a flipper to gain access. Is there any way you can secure against this?
Use secure protocols. So if there's if the cheap ones like the MyFair Classic, it all comes down to encryption. For instance, the MyFair Testfire uses AES encryption. So even the applications or the data itself is being encrypted and cannot be copied itself. But usually it means that, yeah, if there's a cheap or a easy copyable batch system, yeah, it means that it all needs to be changed as well. So it's not really easy to remediate, let's say.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
One in the chat, I see.
Yes. What's your stance on password managers? Are they secure?
Yes, I would say yes, but yeah, we've seen LastPass, for instance, being targeted, and they have, I think, more than once leaked data. That what the things that we saw there, I think, was that even the metadata of the accounts or the passwords of what was being stored was not really encrypted. So yeah, it's I myself use 1Password. You can use open source like Bitwarden, I'd say, Vaultwarden. You can use, but yeah, it's the same like with your bank, of course. They do pen tests regularly. They let their applications test, but yeah, 100% secure is it's impossible, of course. But I would say yes. It's more secure to use a password manager than to just keep using the same password, of course.
Mm-hmm. Another question, what is the biggest security flaw you discovered in your career?
It's hard to say, actually, because on web applications, I started off my career focusing on web and API. I've seen some pretty unique things there, but it's very rare that we do see critical things there, let's say, than in a network pen test. So in a network pen test, it's pretty easy, weak passwords. But I once did a pen test on some application, and they had some security headers and content security policies set, so it wasn't really easy to exploit cross-site scripting. But I saw that the input field wasn't sanitized. But then we saw that they used Google Ads, so we were able to fiddle with Google Ads and extract some session ID via cross-site scripting to there in the logs. So it was chaining a lot of things, which was quite interesting. So I would say something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions? Another one. In regards to weak passwords, if you employ 𝗵 𝗬𝗂𝗂 and 𝗵𝗶, would you call the weak password issue covered?
No, because MFA is useful, of course, for external, but yeah, internal on the network, like on Active Directory, MFA is not really used. So once we're inside the network, we basically just need the weak password. Of course, if an attacker can get the password, he cannot stay there. Let's say he needs to access it again from external. If you have MFA and everything, then yeah, that already stops or blocks an attacker. But yeah, it's still a problem internally.
Okay. If there's no other questions, in any case, Koen already said it, you can always contact him or Brightest. We will transfer the questions to Koen, of course. So yeah, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. And Koen, thank you so much for your presentation. It was really interesting. And see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Koen. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.